in Port Angeles, and then also about, further. But I love just kind of stop. If I was driving out there, it's like I'd stop for a little bit and just kind of chill. And I just love driving along the lake and everything. It's just so pretty. Yeah.
It is but it is a long ass way out there. Let me tell
you.
Oh,
it is. Yeah.
So word on. Well, we'll see how many people jump on here, because thank God we got Albert here with us to give us the update today on what's going on with rates and all that jazz. But does anybody, while we're just poking around here for a minute, because I just drank a nice glass of my super energy drink. You guys
know, is it like real energy stuff or fake energy stuff?
Real,
good for
real
you.
Energy stuff. It's ginger, honey, lemon.
You got the good
stuff.
I thought you said gin. I thought you said gin.
Yeah, that's what I say at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
So we could all sing happy birthday at the same time and see what happens.
Yeah. That was Tuesday, right?
Nice.
It was a late birthday.
When was my birthday? My birthday was
a couple days ago.
A couple days ago. Yeah.
Happy birthday again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I tested myself because I hang out with 13-year-olds, So I tested myself, and we got on our bikes. I live at the bottom of a bunch of hills down here in North Beach. And we basically decided we're going to ride our bikes down to Golden Gardens Beach, which is right out my window here, but it requires going up a bunch of hills.
Yeah.
And 2 of the kids couldn't make it and had to walk, but my old ass, I made it.
All right.
Stop. Yeah. I think that the mailman thought I was drunk. Cause when you go so
you were weaving up and down.
Yeah, I'm like, trying to get up there. He's like, what's up with that girl? Yeah, but I made it. So I'm very proud of myself for all that stuff. Well, good stuff. We got about 10 people on, maybe some more people to jump on. You know me, I find after doing these for hundreds of years that you have to remind people over and 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 over again. But boy, is now the time to hang out and collaborate, for God's sakes.
Yep.
Now is the time. It's free. This is like, these conversations, having like a lender on here, like Albert with us, and you guys who are creative real estate experts, and, all our whole crew here. Man, we need to be collaboration equals confidence time with a big exclamation point on there.
Yeah, and I saw what you were doing, Julie, about calling MLS about creative real estate strategies. That's gold. That's brilliant, because people are stressing now, and if you've got a good solution or an option for them, that's fabulous.
Yeah. We need to figure out how we can apply that to our flip friends that are gonna, hire a cheap real estate agent to save money that doesn't have any skills.
Who's going to cost them money in the long run?
Oh my God. I mean, a lot of money.
We did a lot of that back in, 2010, 11, 12, 13.
Oh my God. So real estate agents, like for the flippers or people that are even in multifamily, whether you're flipping or all that stuff right now, if you don't know like your skills, like if you aren't tight on creative ways to deal with stale listings or situations that are going to arise. I was talking to these agents this week. I'm just stalling here while we get a couple people on. And I called this gal because I had a buyer working out in Normandy Park. Okay. I did my thing. I'm calling around everybody. Hey, by chance, would your seller accept a contingent offer or a lease option? You cannot find that information anywhere. It's not a box you check.
Nope.
It's not searchable. None of that stuff. Okay. So the real players, like everybody on my broker crew, my hybrid brokerage community, we are, everybody's calling their area they want to work and just keep track, right? 7 out of 7 said yes. So I had a perfect property. My seller has been stuck in her house in Finn Hill forever because she needs to sell in order to buy. Couldn't do that for the last 100 years, right? Or how many years, 5 years, 6 years, something like that, right? And therefore I said, now's the time, let's go. Found her dream home. She's a twin and wanted to move next to her sister that lives in Normandy Park because they're taking care of mom who's getting old. I called up, this listing's only been on, it's been on only for a week, but they missed their offer review date. So I called right away, said, hey, would you guys be entertaining this? To the luck of my God, that agent knew about lease options a little bit and said, yeah, we'd be open to that. So I called the comp 2 doors down to, that's the perfect comp. That is a panic list price on that house at $749. It should have been $850. Okay.
Yeah.
They listed it low, panic list. That's going to happen. There's going to be too high because people are like, I'm not selling unless I get this. And then there's going to be too low, which is, right. I'm so nervous. Let me just, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, so I call up the agent because it's pending, and it's pending on its offer review date. So I'm thinking, oh, well, they probably went over the list price. I call her up and I say, hey, what's up? Windermere agent. How'd it go over there? Gorgeous. I said, let me guess. Sometimes I play with them and I say, let me guess what you got. Cause that kind of opens them up a little bit. And I guess $850, she said, nope, is listed at $749. And I said, did it start with an 8? She said, no, it starts with a 749. I said, what in the hell? She said, yeah, we got an offer and it came with an escalator, but I only had one offer. So I couldn't use it. I said, what? I go, I think you might hang up on me after I tell this to you. You might get pissed at me, but do you realize that you could have just crossed that escalator out and give them a counter offer and wrote in, they escalated up to 880. You could have countered them at 850 or, even 825, 850. You just left $100,000 on the table for your client. Well, she says, isn't that a dick move? Wouldn't that be a dick move? I said, it'd be a dick move if they offered you $749 with no escalator and you countered back.
But if they escalate to 880.
But if they played their cards to you, showed their interest in the house like that, my text back is, hey, check your email. I think your seller's going to be super happy. Meaning you just got a house that you didn't have to escalate all the way on after all this time. Right. And she said, I said, you just changed that neighborhood market by getting that. You just did that, I don't know if that's good or bad, but depends on what side of your coin you're on. But she's like, well, it's just, people aren't educated. Most of the brokers are not educated. They don't have a backbone. They don't do enough homework.
No backbone.
The reason why I'm saying this is because if you're a flipper or you have even multifamily, because that you need right now to be, you need to be planning what your plan is right now. I'm in Ballard. I just had a big listing in Ballard, right? Big, beautiful listing, but it had a big variable on it. It looks gorgeous. Had 3 bedrooms upstairs with no bathroom on a 1.5 story with basement. That's a big variable. No bathroom upstairs, no master bathroom with 3 bedrooms up there, right? I'm just giving you guys the example. I told my clients, I won't go into all the details, but I said, here's the plan. It's a 1 offer market now, okay? And even though we're in the urban village of Ballard, which is super hot and everything's selling over the list price still, it's very possible we might get 1 offer. But we're going to price it so I get a ton of people to the house. Okay. And then I know how to communicate with all the buyers and the brokers where they will feel that there's still some competition there. And there was, right? There's still some, but I sent out 4 sets of reports. We only got 1 offer. I said, that's very well going to happen. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to get enough people to the house that 1 offer, if it happens, is going to have an escalator in it. And we're going to cross it out. We're going to stand up real tall with our confidence. And we're going to basically counter them back below their full. It's exactly what happened. And I was listed at $1,450,000 and they offered over $1,800,000. Okay. And in this market, it's like, wow, I thought, okay, I can get you to $1,600,000 something was where we were trying to get to. But my client was like a bull, they were real tough on me. And so I didn't want to really give them a lot of guidance because they are trying to blame me for anything that's going to go wrong. So I said, great news. exactly what I said is going to happen happened. And you get to choose what price you want to sell your house at. I didn't say a word. Oop, what do you want to do? He picked a number lower than I would have told him. Okay. But because we have one offer and it's tricky,
Yeah.
I said, yep, that's the number. I can work with that. Right. He won. We got $1,675,000 on one offer listed at $1,450,000. Right.
Sweet.
My buddy Jared Holland listed the week after in Ballard around the corner from me at a little too high of a price, little bit, should have changed it up a little bit. Still sitting on the market, had to drop his price today. I love Jared. He's caught in this thing, right? So I've been talking shop with him about, what strategies. And I said, Jared, drop the price and put in the broker comments, that you're contact listing agent to discuss more flexible terms, right? More flexible terms, which means I'll take a lease option or a contingent offer without saying it, right? You're just, or offer 20.
This is Holland?
Huh? He just did it today.
This is Jared Holland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering which Jared.
I love Jared. Jared's crushing it. He's got like 17 projects out there right now, but he learned from 2018, which is the last time this happened, right? He got spanked real hard. And so all these projects he's been buying since then, he's been building himself a big extra cushion in. So he's totally going to be fine, right? Because he bought it right. So he bought it right. And he has the luxury maybe to, I'm trying to talk to, I don't know who's on here. I was trying to talk to Nee. I called Nee the other day at Certain Lending. And I'm like, hey, what can we do with flippers that get into a situation and they're on their hard money? And so they can accept a lease option. Okay. So they can accept a flipper on hard money. How do we make it so they can accept a lease option? And the reason why they might want to do that is because if you give terms, you can hold the line on your price.
Right.
And you're going to have a non-refundable option fee released to you. And when that's coming from a retail buyer, it isn't the $1,000 an investor wants to put down. The last one I did was like $30,000 on option fee. Okay. Because they really intend to do it. What does that do? That pays for your hard money extension. That pays a big amount of your monthly payment. And you're going to collect a rent, maybe even a premium rent. So now you're mitigating all your problems. Now you've got a rent coming in and you can convert to the 2-year loan product that Certain Lending offers, maybe at 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You guys see what I'm saying here?
And at least stop the hemorrhaging. Yeah.
You can hold the line on your price.
Yep.
You're going to get a big chunk of money. You're going to collect rent. And you're going to push a little bit and convert to something that gives you a longer runway. Are you guys following me on the flips? You guys, anybody? That's like,
I'm following you,
seller point of
Julie. I
view?
totally get it.
yeah. The other thing.
No, Julie, I'm completely lost. Go ahead.
What?
No, you're not. Are you joking? Yeah.
But you have to ask the question for the audience, right?
Oh, what, yeah. Ask me a question and all. We got all Larry and Marishka are like, damn, this is their they've been doing this for 30 years, for God's sake.
Well, and it's really
They're
interesting
doing
too.
private money all the time, right?
Well, what she's talking about
What's
though
that?
is that like back in after the fallout from 2008, we actually, and Nee knows this perfectly well because we actually worked with him when he was doing flipping. And yeah, a lot of times when you get stuck with a project and you can't sell for what you think you want, need or want to sell it for, if you can offer a lease option, you can, okay, now I have a rental property, I can convert it to, conventional or semi-conventional, rental long-term financing and then hold that price for a while. And you're going to get a better quality renter because they don't have a renter mindset. They're intending to buy.
But here's the thing also, why you're not, if you're a flipper, you're not going to convert to the 30-year loan product.
No, you don't need to do that.
Because everybody needs to be paying attention to the terms, prepayment penalties. Right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the certain lending 2-year product doesn't have prepayment penalty.
Correct.
To the best of my knowledge, right?
That
So I'm trying
helps.
to get neon. You guys follow what I'm saying? So you're going to get a big chunk of money from a tenant buyer. You're going to pass off all the maintenance costs to them. You can write it however you want.
Yeah.
You can make them pay your real estate taxes. You can do whatever you want. You can collect a big chunk of money to cover any fees or extension
And
fees.
it puts you in a better tax position too, by the way. I mean, I'm not an accountant. I'm not going to, give tax advice, but you switched from that, short-term ordinary income to now, you may have a rental property for a year plus, and you've kind of changed that landscape as well.
You know what's funny about it? There's like even Jared, he flips. He's not buy and holding as much. This is a great time where you flippers are going to learn the benefit of buy and hold, of keeping these rentals. Because, 2 or 3 years after flipping, you're like, shit, I should have kept 10 of those.
Yeah.
You might get forced into keeping some now, which is going to be, come here and talk to us or call me. I'll put my phone number in the chat. You can text or call me and talk about what do you do if you get in a jam on anything? I mean, this is where Marishka and I are on the same team, and Larry, this is part of my VIP broker education community, my private broker coaching community, where this is modern brokerage, where half of our people are all investors, work with builders and do all that stuff too. Justin Stiles, House of Styles, and Revision Homes, Chris Myers, and all that stuff. We are built. We are barfing excitement, not for anybody's pain,
No.
but it is. I have been, honestly, guys, and Joe tells me when he sees this on me, I can get bored for the last couple of years talking about the same shit over and over again a little bit, even though Thursdays is my favorite because we always have such great topics. But right now, boom, so much to talk about, so much to learn that you've got to be plugged in. You're crazy if you don't show up here weekly, because this is free and we are dropping the bombs. And you guys are all welcome to, this is how you're going to get at me. I'm going to tell you how you can come talk to me, because I want to talk to everybody right now. We have an office in Bellevue, across the street from Bellevue Square. And Jacob Weaver and I are there every Monday recording content for training our broker community on all these things that we're talking about, plus luxury, new construction, creative finance, all that stuff, right? From 11:30 to 1:30 every Monday, you guys are welcome, if you text me, to stop by our office right across the street from Bellevue Square, where that Starbucks and the Pasta and Company is. It's right above there. Or you can show up here on Thursdays like this. And if you miss it and you're a member of Seattle Investors Club for $220 a year, it's recorded, but nothing's better than being able to show up with your own questions. And then I will be starting to attend myself, because I don't want to host any live shit. Well, that's a lie, actually, but I'm going to start attending all the 10X real estate group stuff. If you guys aren't on the 10X real estate group Facebook page, it's kind of like the new Wari, different flavor. Nobody's bringing popcorn yet to watch everybody duke it out. But if you're not on the 10X real estate group, that is blowing up. And 3 gals are the hosts of that. And I would like to see you there. The next event they're having, I want to say, is June 28th. I'll post it in Seattle Investors Club. So I'm going to go to those. And then would you guys have interest if, and I'll get you in 1 second, Holly, would you guys have interest if I had like an hour? We're going to, Jacob and I, and Marishka's in Idaho and Larry in Idaho. So unless they want to come over here, we could have a Spokane area one as well, where you guys handle that one, but probably twice a month to start. Jacob and I are going to start hosting basically a 1-hour event where we're going to teach people, brokers, and investors, wholesalers, anybody that wants to show up about lease options. Everybody needs to know about these, right? Wouldn't you say, Marishka?
Is that going to be in person or virtual?
In person. Twice a month, maybe even more but there's a chance that we might limit it to, depending on our space that we have, to 10 people and then let them get on a wait list. So Holly, for people on our personal team, they get to invite whoever they want as well. You know what I mean? I'm trying to empower my team. And, so I might 10 or 15 people at a time to keep it intimate. So everybody has a chance to really learn and it doesn't have to be a huge group. Would you guys, would anybody, if you're, say, unmic yourself and say me, or raise your hand so I can see you. Are you guys interested in that? Because I don't want to do it if I'm busy. If you guys, raise your hand like this so I can see you if you guys are.
When is it gonna be?
I'm gonna put out a schedule on it.
I can't. That type of raise hand. There we are. Reaction, raise hand.
Yeah. Jacob and I are working out the schedule on that, but it's just so important that's a lot of you guys, to learn that stuff right now and learn how to apply it in your world globally, right? And then we'll probably drop in a few other bombs while we're there because we can't help ourselves, but it'll be fun to get back to see each other, I'm so excited about that topic. I think it's so important that I don't really want to host any in-person stuff, frankly, because I've been doing that too long for years, but that topic excites me enough and it's so important right now that I'm willing to do that. So can't wait to see you guys there who have raised your hand, but that's all I got for the moment, and let you guys, does anybody have?
When are you starting that, Julie?
We'll probably start it in 2 or 3 weeks. You'll know right away. I'll tell you. In 2 or 3 weeks. And, we'll decide, I don't know, maybe we'll do 1 week on the west side of, Lake Washington and 1 week on east side. That's probably what we'll do.
Because it's like 2 miles across the lake. Anyway, sorry. No.
Yeah, but I'm going to make it convenient for me because I only want to talk to people that actually are willing to show up. I'm not going to cater to anybody. So, what else? Go ahead. Anybody got anything?
Can I go?
Go for it.
So, so for those of you that maybe don't know exactly what's going on, Marishka, it's pretty obvious that you don't have any hair.
There's our beautiful gal.
So she's doing much better. We basically have been dealing with cancer since last
fall. I'll pop in. I'm doing great. But yeah, so we kind of, if people, there's a lot of people who we've known forever. Some of you may not know me at all, may not know Larry at all. We kind of dropped off of the face of the earth for a little while, partly because we moved to Idaho and COVID happened and everything. But then last fall, I got this kind of really bummer of a diagnosis, but I'm doing really well now. Waiting for the hair to grow back.
You look gorgeous.
Oh, you're so sweet. But yeah, so thank God for passive income. And there we go. But we're back at it.
Yes. And you guys are hosting a big event this fall, correct?
We are. We're really excited. Coeur d'Alene, first of all, is gorgeous. But there has never, and there's an active real estate community here, but they've never, to the best of our knowledge, and we've talked with the people who are kind of in the know, there's never been a big real estate event here. And so Larry and I, he reached out to this gal who has a networking group over in Spokane, and we decided that we would all, we were going to put on an event in October. And so it's going to be, some great networking. We've got some speakers coming from,
I'll be there
nationally. Julie will be there. We've got, I don't know if Larry, I think just popped a
Coupon in there. Yeah. So our website, of course, it's live, and if you go there, you'll see that we've actually got some really awesome national speakers. And
Yeah.
speaking of lease options, Joe McCall is going to be.
Is Joe McCall gonna
Joe
be
is
there?
coming. Yeah.
Get out of
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Holy
We've got
shit.
Claude Diamond, Ryan Gibson, Jennifer
Claude
Beatles.
Diamond.
Claude Diamond
gonna
is
be there?
coming. Yep.
Yeah.
Did you say Ryan Gibson is going to be there?
Yep.
Holy shitola,
Yeah.
guys! I didn't
We
know.
have-
We got somebody from
we have-
Quest Trust for, talking about
You
self-directed
gonna
IRAs.
get Jeff there?
Pardon?
Getting Jeff there?
He wanted to come. He had another commitment that he'd, gotten into like many, many, many months ago. He tried to get out of it, but it was from Eddie's.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So unfortunately he will not be there, but yeah.
If you guys want to know about lease options on your own, actually, Marishka, didn't I say, let's get Joe on the podcast? Did I say that?
Yeah. So we haven't said anything to him yet, but
Okay.
yeah, let's do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, this is big news. That is already a lineup right there worth attending. I'll bring Jacob with me too. So
So we also have our accountants coming from, depending where he's living at the time, either
Yeah, he's
Chicago
either
or
in Florida or
Florida.
Chicago, where
Quest Trust is sending one of their top people. We've got a local investor, actually two local investors. Then from Tucson, we've got Bob Zachmeyer, who does a lot of seller financing.
nice.
And so we've got a good crew. And seriously, it's like, well, we've got a couple other people. We're keeping our fingers crossed with this couple other people that you've heard of that are on the fence. They're real close. We hope. Anyway.
Awesome.
So like I put in a coupon there for you guys. We actually the early bird actually expired a couple days ago, but if you use the little coupon here, it'll save you $96. So
That's like 50% off.
And then we're also on Saturday night, we're gonna have a cruise on Lake Washington, or excuse me, Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Lake Coeur d'Alene, yes.
Yeah. And
So
that's an
plan to
extra
stay
$42,
over.
but it's going to be just a lot of fun and networking and
Awesome.
So
That
I
is
got my
impressive.
ticket. I'm super excited.
Cool.
cool.
All
Yeah.
right. We'll record a commercial or a little soundbite with you guys, and we'll continue to blast it out.
Yeah.
You guys, yeah. Oh my God, that is impressive. So
Yeah. I think it'll be a lot of fun,
it will be. What
Yeah.
else is going on with you guys? What else is everybody else going on? I want to make sure everybody, if anybody has any questions or needs any help, we're a little too excited today. Does anybody need any help with anything? Otherwise, I'm going to tap on Albert if we can get him unmiked and let him give us the update on rates and stuff. Anybody got anything they need help with?
I do have a question. So I'm refinancing my park, and I've been working with this broker, and I just had someone this morning call me, and I guess apparently the founder of the broker the brokerage agency, he split off and created his own thing, and he was saying that, come with me, do your loan with me. I'll do it for, the first broker was saying she'd charge 1 point.
Loan broker? Gotcha.
Yeah, the loan broker. Yeah, the one that called me this morning is like, well, I'll do it for $9,000, which is, it's a $2 million loan. So it's, it's like $11,000 discount. I kind of feel bad, but I'm thinking it's like, well, this is $11,000 switching to another person, kind of in the midway. What do you guys think about that?
I think relationships are very important. So, I would go back to the guy that you're working with and say, this is just me. I appreciate you and I want to stick with you. I am in business and it's not an emotional thing. I'm not, I've had an offer for, a discount of $11,000 on the fee, but I value our relationship, and I'm wondering if you can even just go halfway there.
Yeah, I did that, and the person said no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like,
well.
no, I'm not gonna,
Do
sounds
they
like-
know it's the other person?
Oh yeah, and she's really upset because it's kind of been like a, it's been an internal company thing. There was 3 founders of the company, and one of them broke off to start his own thing. And it's kind of strange. He's like in both companies. He founded another company, but he's still in the original company. So it's like it's kind of the same. That's one of the things. The pitch was like, well, it's the same banks that you'd be working with the other person. Everything's the same. It's just that I'm going to charge you, 9,000. They're going to charge you 1%.
My gut is that you stick with relationships. Relationships matter.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
And you don't need the
unless
money. You're not
unless
hurting
it's the
me.
last loan you're going to do there, Ian.
What's
know?
that?
So the last loan you're going to do in that area?
Oh, this is they work in the entire country. So
You know what? They're going to remember that if you
They
stick with them.
Different.
I don't know. What do you think, Albert? I think relationships matter, and it's not like you're hurting on your deal or you're hurting or, that's
Yeah,
a kind of a
that's what
dick
I was
move.
implying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was implying is this the last loan you're doing in that area or with this person? Because you're never going to work with them again. I mean, they're never going to want to work with you again, probably.
okay.
It just depends, right? But
Okay.
yeah, I would side with what Julie said.
Do the right thing. But they
This
didn't.
commercial is a different world.
But hey, Albert, when Ian asked that one lender we're trying to tell him to stick with, would you even go halfway there and give me, and the guy said no. Does that guy have any,
Yeah.
did he say no, or did he say, let me go talk to my people and come back and say no?
No, it's just a flat no. I don't think he wants to budge from the 1%. So
I don't know. Albert, what do you think? What would you do? You there? Albert's like, F
Every
this
lender
one.
is a little different. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, would you, so if what do you think that could start happening now, right? Don't you think, Albert, maybe? Do you think with the fact that rates are getting so crazy and unpredictable, and there could be a little bit more of that where people are getting shopped on, or maybe you're used to that in your business?
Yeah. I'm used to being shopped because it's Fannie and Freddie, right? This is like a homogeneous product. It's vanilla. Yeah. Everybody's got access to it. In commercial, it's a little different because every bank is their own Fannie or Freddie. They all have their own special guidelines and whatnot. Every bank is either more balance sheet focused, more cash flow focused, or all three of them. But then they have really good rates. So everyone's a little different. Some of them are more experienced. The principal, they want the relationship. They want all your operating accounts, right, for all your properties and your active business.
Have a non-compete. I'm surprised he didn't have a non-compete when he left. That's a little suspect, weird. Yeah.
Some smaller shops don't have that because they didn't think that they would ever get bigger, so they never needed a non-compete.
I don't know.
Potentially.
That's a tough one, Ian.
Yeah.
What is your gut
tell you what to do.
What does your gut tell you to do, Ian? There's no
I
right.
don't know. I could go either way. I mean, it's like, yeah, I understand the relationships, but then I understand it's like kind of like it's at the same time it's also business. So I'm still kind of, like I said, this just happened. The call happened this morning, and I'm kind of, trying to figure out, which way is the best way to
Here's the
go.
thing is that here's one little soundbite for you. This guy go out on his own and start his own shop, right? Is that it?
No, well, the founder, so the founder, broke off and created his own thing, but it's not a small shop. They're pretty big. So it's, they have, I guess they're saying they have like thousands of banks and that they're working with. So
thousands. Wow.
Well, it doesn't,
Quite a claim.
I don't know. I was going to say, because that sometimes when people, even talented people, break off on their own because they get their, Albert, you broke off on your own, kind of, didn't you? I mean, there could be a chance. There could be a chance that person fails, and then you've lost that relationship with this national company.
That would be my concern.
For me,
basically, if the company that you go to, if they're able to to perform, it's like, because we've got a situation right now with some guys that are trying to refinance a property down in outside of Pullman, and the company that they were working with is basically they're not gonna be able to close, and so now that they're going to another one, it just kind of it's kind of a rough situation, and of course as you know, every day the interest rates are getting changed and so forth.
Yeah,
So,
there's a point. Yeah, have you already locked your rate?
No, we haven't locked the rate yet. She's still kind of like sending it out to the banks, and we're still in the kind of the.
I mean, you might lose your 11,000 right there.
Well, you might
Yeah,
have
a
your
lot of the-
excuse to get
A
out
lot
of
of the
that.
commercial
right
lenders
there.
have non-refundables. Usually they have non-refundable commitment fees. So read your commitment fee.
Oh,
Authorization letter.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Well, then you're
Oh,
totally
okay.
free to
That's
go.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you're free to go. I mean, you haven't even locked. Rates are,
No, I haven't locked rates or got any paperwork or anything. She's still
Oh,
oh,
sending
well,
documents
that's a
to.
different story
that's
then.
still
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not in the middle of the loan process. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that would
Like,
suck if you
barely
don't-
even pre-approved, not even pre-approved. So
Actually, that brings up a good topic I wanted to ask Albert about. Albert, so, with the rates are bouncing around from day to day here, right? As your
Yeah.
post earlier today, which we can talk about in a second, is evidence of. Are there lenders out there, or what is the situation for everybody? How soon can somebody rate lock? And is there, isn't there a floating type of thing where you're at one rate, and if it goes down, there's like some banks offer
Yeah.
a float option.
a
You
float
can,
down,
a what?
float down,
Float down.
float down.
Float down, float down.
Basically, you share with the house. Yeah, you share with the house. You don't get all of it.
Okay, well,
So
isn't
there
a
is an
float
advantage.
down- Isn't a lender that offers float downs kind of a big deal right now?
Yeah, especially if you locked at 6.25 just 1 week ago, and now you're down to 5.25. That's a big difference. That you would be able to use the float down, but the float down doesn't give you 100. It's not dollar for dollar.
How does it
Meaning,
explain
like,
float
if the
down for us?
advantage,
Give us
basically, you
give
get
us kind of an
50% with a
example.
house. 30K view, you get half of the benefit.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So if you still left, 30K foot view, you still get half the benefit, just to keep it clean. So how that works is if it's a 1% improvement, you get a 0.5% improvement. The house keeps a half.
Gotcha.
So is there a benefit if you still left? Yes, there is still a benefit if you left that lender and we submitted to another lender. But you would have to restart your entire loan process all over again. So the question is, do you have the COE or close of escrow date time? Is your runway long enough? If your runway isn't long enough, then just take the float down and proceed as usual. So,
How long?
those
is
are the
it?
thoughts I would have.
Let's go through the process real quick. So I'm with Albert. I bring you my file, your underwriting appraisal comes in. And then what? Then we lock the rate, or we lock the rate before? Where do we
You
lock
can
the
lock
rate?
it right. You can lock at the beginning. There are even programs called lock and shop, but the problem with them is you don't have an address yet. You don't know if you'll get an address, and you have to pay a non-refundable fee up front, usually.
How much?
Usually half a point or a full point, or a flat fee, depending on the lender. Most people don't do it. I don't even offer it unless somebody asks. So
Are you having anybody that's using a float down?
yeah, float down, yes. So there are people with float downs.
No, I mean, like,
That's
are
happening
you
right now.
having any of your borrowers actually put the float down in process? Have they floated down?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Actually, no, because we locked before the rates went up. So that we never had that issue.
And how long?
We were
are the
already
rate
around
locks?
5.25.
Is that a 90-day rate lock? 30 days?
Most of the rate locks I do are less than 30 because we're closing faster than 30. So we don't need more than 30
So
unless
it's
they,
cheaper?
unless. Yeah, it's cheaper. Yes. The shorter the rate lock, the cheaper it is.
How much what's the shortest, what's the typical rate lock timeline you're doing? Like 3 weeks?
Usually 30,
And what's the
25 to
cost?
30.
What's the costing?
What do you mean
If
cut off?
If I had $1 million loan, what's that gonna cost me?
From what to what?
Well, I guess the rate lock, I'm just rate locking. So you're just saying if I had to float down.
Regular
Yeah,
rate lock? No money.
But if I
If
wanted
you ask
to,
me, like, what's the difference between a 30 and a 60-day? Half a point in cost times your loan amount, which is $1 million, which means $5,000 for you.
right,
You're hypothetical.
yeah. I guess I'm just thinking in my head, like, is there, of course, all us brokers talk about right now, like with stale listings, getting sellers to pay that buy down, or maybe maybe there's another way to say that for those of you, like instead of being a buy, it's we offer to cover the float down payment or something like that as sellers these days, right?
But it doesn't cost money to float down. It's just an election. Literally, the loan officer just clicks float down and requests it. There's no money involved. He
I thought
just
you
has
said
to
it was-
improve enough, right?
I thought you said it was
No,
half a
there's
point
no
or
money.
something.
You're thinking about, you're thinking about lock and shop. That means like you're literally locking a rate. You have no address. It's TBD, to be determined address. And you're going out there trying to get a PSA into mutual. You're trying to get a seller to accept your offer, AKA, right? So that's all lock and shop is. That's a completely different program. That's like that's like a program that buys into buyer fear out there because they're afraid rates will go up. So they'll lock and shop, right? And it sounds warm and cozy because you get to lock first and then you get to shop. It's fantastic, right? Not really.
No,
It's pro and cons always. Yeah, I like to speak matter of fact. I mean, there's all these lenders talking about all these warm and fuzzy programs, but I'm trying to look at the actual net benefit. What is the gain?
If you're going to do if you do the float down, the free float down after you've locked, how many days, when is the last opportunity to float down, and how many times can you float down?
Only once, and you can only
down.
do it, but you need enough time to close, right? So at least a week before closing, preferably more time. Because if you float down, the terms are going to change, right? We have to reissue a new closing disclosure. There's 3 days. Yeah. There's 3 days to disclose, and then before the buyer can sign the new closing disclosure. Then they got to order docs. We got to balance with title and escrow, right? All the fees. Every day you change your closing, it has to be updated. They got to sign, they got to record and close. So at least a week.
Okay. Well, still, I mean, it's all doable.
Yeah.
Just a little stress for the loan officer and the escrow.
Yeah, it's more stressful for us. Yeah, and the escrow people. Yeah. So.
But boy, what do you have a fan
every
for
day
life? You get somebody a float down lock rate. Yeah. You got a fan for life. You know what I mean? I know you got to sweat it a little, right? But that's all about you educating them from the beginning. Like, don't ask me to float it down. This is the latest date to give that's on you to educate the borrower, not to try and, float it late, if you get what I'm saying. Too late.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of education needed in this market and any market, right? But even during COVID, when people were doing 50 to 100,000 non-refundable, every day we're sweating it because we see a contract come in and we have to perform because there's no contingencies, and 100,000 non-refundable. I mean, it's pretty scary if we don't perform.
I just got an offer with 150,000 earnest money released and financing waived.
Oh.
Financing waived like 2 weeks ago. It's crazy.
You gotta take 3 shots of like whiskey.
Not me. I'm on the listing side, but they would be.
Not you.
Smoking a reefer on the other end there. Yeah. Interesting. Right?
Yeah, you got to pull out the 1942 or whatever, 1842.
Well, give us the update today anyways, while we're on here, Albert, about what happened with rates today or what your post was earlier in Wari.
Well, what happens was because the Fed raised the short-term rate. And the day after, what happened was there was a no bid. So there's no buyers for the debt. Not even the Fed or the banks weren't buying. None of the investment hedge funds were buying. That's all a no bid means. There's no buyers. And the ask is sellers. So bid ask, kind of like in stocks where they talk about the bid ask spread. That's the spread between people offering the stock and people buying the stock, and the premiums involved. And in terms of the mortgage side or the debt side, the bid and ask is people buying the debt and people selling the debt. It's the same thing. There's basically no bid that day. So the lenders had nobody to buy their debts. So they were afraid, right? If they funded the loans, who's going to buy this debt? Because that's what lenders do. They fund loans first, and then they figure out who's going to sell it. And they lock up contracts with these buyers, these bidders, and they make that difference. And then that day they didn't have a bid, so what they did is they overshot the rates. They had to go up to like 6 to start finding buyers.
Because they had to stop business from happening, kind of.
Or
right?
hedge their bets, or hedge their bets. So they would go out and make tons of calls to all the bidders, potential bidders. It's kind of like you calling all your sale list, right, of all your buyers, Julie.
Yeah.
Like, hey, would you be interested in a 123 Street for this price? And they're like, oh, I don't know. If it goes down to this, Julie, I'll be interested. So they're calling all their bidders, figuring out what rates they'll buy this package of debt at. And all the people buying debt at that time were scared too. So they're like, well, if it gets to 6, maybe we'll do it. And then, so they were just they overshot it all the way up to like 6.25, 6.5. And they finally got some verbal commitments. So that's the reason rates shot up real quick. And now they're down to 5.25 because the market has settled. And that's the actual. We're getting buyers again. So that's the layman's way of explaining, I think.
So you're saying
So
that
to relate it back to real estate,
5.25
right?
today?
Today,
We're saying today's a rate lock day. Today's a rate lock day.
Yeah, I locked a bunch of stuff today. So
It is a rate lock
that's a
day.
great-
You should,
great day.
you know what, Albert? You know what would be a killer idea to make you just add value to everybody is like every morning or at 11 a.m. or whatever, a little hashtag rate lock with Albert. And just, I know people are working with you or not, but put the word out. Tell it today is a good rate lock day. Whenever you think there's a good rate lock day, be like, today is a rate lock day, and tell everybody like, because maybe there are people in all points of stages, right? You're the value add guy. We don't need to worry about how business comes back to us. We just put out the good word, right?
That would be more good than bad. The only bad I could see is people that are currently with me that have already floated down and can't get, they don't get the full benefit, right? You know what I mean, Marishka?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, oh, I already did it. I've already played my hand. I can't play another one.
Yeah, because you can only do it once for the float down. So let's say they floated down too early. I mean, that's their call. I always make sure they want to do it because I always keep electronic trail of everything. Because I've been burned too many times where like, you said this. And I'm like, I know what I said. But I need it kind of like attorneys, right? It doesn't matter what you think.
I was going to say that's exactly like attorneys. Get it in writing.
Only whatever you can prove in court. I have like electronic date stamps on all my documents. I mean, like when we pulled credit, when we got documents from the borrower, what they disclosed to us. Because I have borrowers who tell me, I gave you that in the beginning. I disclosed it. I'm like, no, you didn't. So yeah, and and then they say, hey, if you don't pay me back my earnest money or something for whatever reason, we're gonna go to court or something like that. I'm like, wow. Once you hear that kind of stuff, you start tracking everything.
Document.
That's the business we're in, right? That's why we get paid so much,
Well, that's what I'm saying is that there's going to be a lot of emotion from buyers, sellers, borrowers, these days. And that's why, I'm literally writing scripts for my VIP brokers on how to handle pressure from a buyer or a seller, right? How do you get out in front of the fact that you just have to assume the pressure is going to come? And how can you educate and communicate in the beginning, in the middle, right? If things go stale or whatever. And I've been testing it out on myself and with some of my VIP brokers, and it's working like a charm, right? You just have to be prepared, right? You have to just be prepared to do what you said is to help people. Some people are going to just do whatever they do. But I think if you, there's probably so many common scenarios that come up. It's time to actually plan how you're going to deal with this and this, in your, whatever your business is. Well, I want to tell you guys about something else while I'm on here, and for our flipper friends, or even for your own. I think for the flippers, it's really great, or maybe for like people doing value add stuff before they refinance, which is a whole nother topic these days about the bridge loans. Geez. But, so I had to get some plumbing done at my house. I've known this for a long time, and I don't know why I never put 2 and 2 together, but this is potentially interesting. So I had to get some plumbing done at my house. I've been here for 14 years, so everything's starting to fall apart. And I ended up calling C-Town Electric and Plumbing and HVAC. I don't know if you guys have seen C-Town, okay, but they're everywhere. They have their vans everywhere. I used them with a lot of my clients before, so and so and so and so. The reason, I mean, it's not cheap. It's not like, you know, Joe's Plumbing down the street where you probably get what you pay for and it works for 6 months and then it breaks again. So it's more expensive. It's like a retail price plumber, right? But they have a huge crew. They have a huge, so they're able to show up in 10 days versus 3 weeks or 30 days out, right? How many people here have tried as any of their flips or investment properties or anything they're working on, the contractor says, I can get you in about 30 days, right? You know, same with Buddy's haircut. Man, don't miss that appointment for your dog. We should see what Buddy looks like right now. My God, my poor dude. So I had C-Town come over this morning and they did their thing. And I was like, give me a freaking break on that price on something it took them 15 minutes. And I said, okay, in exchange for me paying you that stupid price, I want to talk to you about some stuff. First of all, I want you to teach me what you just did to make it worth the fact that next time I'll do it. Because I said, how does the average person afford to pay $350 for you to spend 15 minutes on something and don't even tell me about the part cost because it's $20. I'm not stupid. And they said they do it themselves. I said, great, to make it worth me giving you this money today, I want you to show me and teach me what you just did. And next time I'll do it myself, right? And then I'll stop bitching at you. And they're like, that's cool. I was real nice to them. But at the end we were talking and C-Town is plumbing, electric, like plumb your whole house, plumb this or whatever, rewire your whole house. They also have sewer. So they like trenchless sewer if you had to replace the sewer line and all that. But what they do is they offer 18 months free financing. 18 months free financing. So you're a flipper. You call C-Town to do the work. They have an entire department of the city knows them so well. Their permitting shit is like this because I talked to it about the guy, right? 18 months free financing is what he told me. Okay, now you're thinking, well, it's going to be more expensive. Go ahead.
Is that, just to clarify, because I've run into this when we were working with a client in California, is it just for owner occupied or will it also apply to investor owned properties?
Very good question. And I don't know the answer, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
That's a great question. That is a really
but
good
yeah, if you can get, anytime you can spread something out, you know, that's
yeah,
awesome.
That is a very good question. So I'm going to follow up. I'm going to tell you guys next week, or I'll post it in SIC's Facebook page.
Cool.
But, you know, the point is if you can, very good point by Marishka, you can pay that off at closing, right? Yeah. You're thinking, well, why would I want to use the expensive retail plumber? Because borrowing that money at 12% is probably more expensive than the $500 extra it costs you to use that plumber, or whatever, $1,000 extra it costs you to use that plumber over a couple 3-month period. You guys get what I'm saying?
For sure.
I thought, holy shit. But that's a good thing. I need to clarify that.
I mean, and it very well may be that they don't really care.
I asked them if they work with flippers, and he goes, yeah, we do work with some. So, but that
he probably
might not
matter.
know, you know, he's just the guy that showed up, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you might not because you guys are too expensive, so they wouldn't call you. But for God's sakes, maybe C-Town needs to be the next sponsor of Seattle Investors Club, if that's actually a thing,
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I don't know. You guys have any idea? Anybody else? You guys follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean, I just think like the hassle factor too, because don't get me wrong, having had dealing with an electrician right now to get wiring done, and the amount of time because they're juggling multiple jobs and stuff like that. So their price was great, but the time value of money for how long it takes to get it done, that's the stuff that doesn't get factored, and it's not easy.
And I said, how quick can you get a permit? He goes, we can get a permit within like next day. And I said, what if the city needs to, whatever, that the city, he said, especially on electrical, like we're like, yep, they see town and
they're good to
it's
go.
all good. But you guys get what I'm saying there. Do the math. It's like, what? So I'm going to find out.
Yeah, those are the intangibles of the deal that are never spoke of. We usually just look at the invoices, right?
Yep.
People look at, what are you going to charge me? They don't think broad globally enough to think, you mean I don't have to borrow that extra, 30,000 on hard
start
money,
paying interest on it from day one.
From, yeah. And this Joe in the box electrician's going to drag drag this out, not show up or whatever, nobody trusts them to get their permit blessed.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah.
I'm going to take off. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, brother.
Okay. See you guys
later. See ya. I don't know. I think that was a good little global thought from this morning.
Yeah.
If you guys can find, like, for example, a lot of roofers that are smart will let you put a roof on during escrow and get paid out of closing, right? So, with novation, the new wholesaling, okay? Are you hearing people talk about novation in your world, Marishka?
Well, in my world or in my area, because that's two different things. My world is a little broader than North Idaho.
Yes.
North Idaho, not so much.
Yeah. Right. Well, I know I want to talk to Joe because Joe interviewed the same guy Corey that we did.
Yeah.
Right. And Joe and I think a lot alike. I think my business model, we have different business models,
Sure.
but I believe that we kind of think alike, like you guys, right? And so I can't wait to see.
No, I think it'd just be super awesome to just have a little geek fest. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. But so with novation, here's one I'm going to throw out. Novation guy means that if you guys haven't watched our podcast about novation, the smart wholesalers it's kind of like how wholesaling was huge 12 years ago and everybody on the planet was talking about it, coaching on it, fortune builders. They're now all duking it out in the streets to talk about novation. If you come weekly to this thing, you've heard me say that. And what that is they still go under contract like a wholesale deal, but instead of now wholesaling it to the investors, they don't do that. They're able to agree to a higher price to the seller. They get them to sign a novation agreement and an attorney, in fact, kind of a power of attorney to sign listing paperwork. Then the wholesaler gets with somebody like me. We list it on the MLS as it's essentially a net listing for that wholesaler. And they've promised in their contract that the seller gets a net number price and they get to keep everything above it. So above it, they gross it up and they build in all the closing costs, excise tax, broker fees and all that stuff because they're still buying it at a discount. It's just not a flipper price discount.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to work though now in our new potentially declining prices, right? They've lost the predictability. So it's going to get real interesting on the novation side. But what novation means is that it used to be that you wholesale a deal to that end buyer and legally you're not really out of the middle. Okay. When you do an assignment as a wholesaler, the way that they've been doing it forever, if the shit hits the fan and rolls backwards, you're actually still legally liable for that contract, that initial A to B contract. And to the best of my knowledge, I'll say, because I'm not a lawyer, and lots of wholesalers they are not being honest necessarily with the seller. Instead, what happens now is they get under contract, they're able to pay the seller a little bit more because they're going to list it on the MLS and sell it and get more eyeballs and prices higher, blah, 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 right? More retail buyers and so forth. And when the retail buyer makes that offer, they do what's called novation, and that first contract gets legally canceled, and a new contract is signed between the retail buyer and the underlying seller, but who has authorization to sign that agreement is the wholesaler as attorney in fact.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the biggest thing sweeping across this country like crazy. The Sean Terrys that everybody.
What's so funny is, Julie, we actually used to do something like that before we'd ever heard the term novation.
Well,
where we'd cancel our original.
Any real estate broker who is involved in a transaction that has some deal turn, even an extension of the closing date happen, that you have to sign a new document for.
Yeah.
That is a novation. It's just the legal term for replacing a contract,
Correct,
right?
With another one. Yeah.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But you know what I was thinking about, Marishka?
What's that?
You can novate, because that's the term when they list it on the MLS, lease options.
Mhm.
Getting a lease option under contract, an assignable lease option, Joe McCall's favorite,
Mhm.
one of the three prongs. Assigning lease options is a thing. Well, if assignments aren't the thing anymore, because there's a better way to do it, how about lease option novations? And that's what I want to talk to Joe about, right?
Yeah.
Get him on the podcast. Let's go.
Let's
right?
do it. Okay.
And that's a side note there for all you guys listening. But what else do we want to talk about today? Anybody interested in multifamily? Right? So, you know, right now, if you bought a multifamily property that had a value add on it, or any property, you know, I can't wait to hear from Ryan Gibson where they're at with all those deals that they were probably in some sort of bridge loan state on. I'm a little worried. Ryan and I are tight, and he always returns my calls and picks up. He has not picked up on my last text and call. I know he's overloaded, because I think with all they have $1 billion in self-storage, and they just bought these huge portfolios, and they're doing their value add development stuff. I'm wondering he is potentially scrambling, right? I love you, Ryan, but I feel for you. Call me, because I have somebody I want to introduce you to. That's a big life insurance type lender. Good, you know.
Yeah. A+.
Yeah. And yeah, they do life company loans,
Yeah.
Ryan, if you're listening. And they're local here in Seattle. And I just want to have lunch with you guys. Anyways, yeah, they could be having pain. So anybody who bought like a value add apartment project that bought it on a bridge loan, which means that you borrow based on the exit value, your ARV of your improved multifamily project after you've been able to raise the rents and do your value add, right? You were able to borrow, let's say 80% of the ARV, right? Which means your purchase price plus covering some of your rehab costs is really what that means.
Mhm.
And the idea was you'd get it done, then you refinance into a permanent loan. If you are stuck in the bridge loan right now and you didn't underwrite with the right cushions for your perm loan, right? That's trouble. Everybody, even the nicest, most talented, smartest multifamily investors like Ken McElroy are having to retrade deals right now, right? So they're having to retrade on price due to the financing, the commercial financing, right?
For sure. I mean, there's so much going on behind the scenes, even that I was hoping that I wanted to actually get Albert's take on this. A friend of mine in the note world was telling us that Inside Mortgage Finance, which is a publication, they sent out a teaser the other day about an increasing amount of Fannie and Freddie repurchases in the first 3 months of the year. Fannie and Freddie had over $1 billion in loan buybacks. $1 billion in loan buybacks.
On commercial?
This was actually on Fannie Freddie stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even know what commercial is doing. So that's going to be really interesting to track, for market stress and everything.
So here's the thing, and I was listening to Ken McElroy about this, Joe, I'm going to send you something to see if we can get Ken on the podcast, because Ken and I actually grew up under the same tutelage of where I grew up. I worked for 16 years as the senior asset manager for a private real estate investment company. And we did national multifamily, commercial, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
When Ken was just coming up, Ken also learned from my principal. Ken and I and his partner, Ross, I can remember being with my guy and Ross, Ken's partner, riding up in an elevator on some deal in Lower Queen Anne we were looking at buying. And they were the brokers on back in the day. So Ken McElroy and I have a long history of knowing one of the biggest players in multifamily that used to be Fannie Mae's like largest borrower on my principal. But so I'm going to use that leverage and try and get him on the podcast.
Cool.
Our ties of Seattle and our ties to this guy, our principal. So I'm going to send you an email, Joe.
It's a cool small world.
Yeah, I'm going to send you an email that you can maybe try and reach out to Ken. But so what he's talking about is a good place to maybe look for deals right now is anybody that those types of bridge loans on smaller multifamily. It might be 12 months. Okay. Let's say somebody who's buying an 8 unit or a 10 unit or something. Could be a 12 month or maybe a 24 month or an 18 month bridge loan product, right? For the larger products, it could be like 36 month bridge loan. Okay. So anybody who bought in the last 12, depending on where your appetite is, I'm going to assume you guys are going to be in the we'll call it 5 to 20, or whatever, units, or 5 to 10 units. You want to look and see who closed on something at like a 3 cap or a 4 cap. You can, the information is there to you to figure out if it was a 3 or a 4 cap, or just figure out who, just go for it and pull a list of every multifamily of the size you want to buy that closed in the last 12 to 18 months. Mm-hmm. And they are probably effed right now on their takeout of their bridge loan. Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened though, is that they added the value, and that might be great. So they have a lot of equity, right? And they also might be saved because rents have went up so much, right? That might be helping them. But if they have the right mix of bad stuff going on, their cash flow is gone.
Yeah.
Because the debt they have to put on is killing their cash flow. Almost much riskier now to own that real estate, but they've created the equity there. So they're going to sell it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So and this goes for the parks too, Ian, this goes for anything, it could be anything commercial, let's say, or whatever can get a bridge loan on it. And like I said, the bigger the project, the longer term out you're going to look. Anything, if it's a bigger project, let's call it over $5 million maybe. Okay. Or, those might have a longer 36 months. So you'd want to go back and see who purchased in the last 36 months. For the smaller 5 to 10, who purchased in the last 12 to 0 to, 18 or 24 months, and contact those people. Because if you can see what they closed at, you can see it was a value add, you can make the assumption they put a bridge loan on there to do that project, and you want to check in with them. Mm-hmm. There's the mic drop gold today, other than if the C-Town thing works out. That was a pretty good one, right?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm definitely gonna look at that.
Okay. And then they might be willing to then you want to talk all these days, of course, about seller financing and all kinds of creative stuff or whatever, right? But that's where I would be looking for deals right now, is anybody that's stuck in a bridge loan pocket. What do you think, Alex?
Whoa, sorry about that. I was getting distracted by something else. Sorry, what was the question? I do
Yeah,
apologize.
so we're talking about like how to source multifamily, good way to source multifamily opportunities right now. And most people wouldn't look at something that somebody purchased in the last 0 to 24 to 36 months as an opportunity. However, if they purchased it on a bridge loan with a value add component, they're going to put a value add on there. So they had a bridge loan, right? They have to refinance out of that. And the rates they're going to have to refinance out squash their cash flow to zero almost. So it's too risky for them to hold, but they've made their upside and their equity because they've done the value add or got halfway through it, or the rents have gone up faster than people predicted. So they have their equity there. And those people want to sell because just they can't get the rate they need to make their deal work on the perm loan refinance. So the opportunity is to go shopping for those deals that people wouldn't even pull that list, call those people. What do you think?
I can say that. So speaking as a lender, we've done a fair number of like, smaller multifamily properties. So like, 5 to 12 units.
Yeah.
We're gonna, like, any loan that you try to get to purchase a property from a potentially distressed current owner, right? It is going to be tied back to that cash flow. You're probably going to run into a lot of the same issues that the current owners are having trying to unload the property. Like, you're going to have to convince them to potentially give up on some of that equity, drop their price if they want to.
Or why couldn't, now this is into my next point. Why couldn't you talk to them about a seller financing second with some type of cash flow earnout within X amount of period to get the premium they want? Do you get what I'm saying, guys? You know what I mean? So it's going to be what it's going to be. It doesn't make, they want to redeploy, right? They want to redeploy because they don't want to own a zero cash flowing property, right? Other people have other needs. Maybe somebody's got a exchange need. Their needs, not everybody has the same investment parameter needs. I don't know. I'm making this shit up is what I'm saying, but this is a good topic, right? I hear what you're saying, that in order to get the loan that you need, it's going to be based off of cash flow. And I'm saying, yeah, okay, sure. I get that. So they either have to they either have to hold their property with no cash flow, or they have to be willing to take a bit of a discount on all the equity they've gained, or we get creative, right? Maybe there's a master lease option and an earnout at a certain, I'm saying, because back in the day, we used to do earnouts with our lenders. You can structure it any way you want. That's why we need to talk about these things, to remind everybody that you just tell them what works for you, right? And it can maybe work out. Anything can work out. Yes, you're going to have to, maybe your loan to value is going to get squashed because your NOI is, but we're talking about, they've already made their equity, right? Their equity has been made because they did the rehab and they got there with their new rents, right? It's just, they can't hold it long-term now on their plan because they're in a pocket of bad rates, right? And they're either just going to wait it out, or maybe they have other opportunities they want to move on to. And they're like, let me take 75% of that equity that I can get instead of, or 80%, or maybe let me put an earnout. Let me have like a profit share earnout for this person to take over because they need an exchange or whatever. And if in 12 months, they're able to, hit a new cash flow, or they're able to, the rates come down to that I was waiting for, but I didn't want to wait that long, but now they're getting the benefit of that. At that time, that triggers some sort of profit share for me, that I get the rest of my premium on on the sale price I was looking for. You guys get what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all? Maybe it might not. I'm just barfing on you guys. Brain barf, right?
Well, I
can
think
see
some
it
of the deals,
might possibly work because there's people buying, I don't know, like 2 and 3 cap properties, and I don't understand how those, if the rates adjust, they could be in,
A world
some
of hurt.
trouble.
But Ian, it only looks like a 2 and 3 cap property at the purchase. If it's a value add deal, that means nothing.
That's true.
It means
Right.
nothing. So people go, I don't know how people buy on a 3 cap. Well, they're not looking at they're not caring what the cap rate is on the purchase. They're caring what the cap rate is on their refinance trigger after they've done the value add, right? They're looking at the pro forma numbers, right? I mean, if somebody's buying on a 3 cap on a stabilized property with no upside, then that's because they are needing an exchange and they have other reasons that are motivating to them to pick up a property that's stable like that, because they're saving. I have a property, if it sells, I have a property out in Lakewood down by Tacoma. I've owned it for 20 years. If we were to sell that thing, my tax bill, because of my basis is so low, I would have probably a $750,000 tax bill, right? I'll do anything. I will do anything. I'll buy anything to get out of that thing. You know what I mean? If that were to happen. So there's all kinds of people that have all kinds of reasons, but I think it's just fun to call them up and see what you can work out, right? And just, I don't know, but I see Alex sees, you guys see this every day, and so when you say that, Alex, you'd have to qualify, like maybe the borrower that you're working with didn't buy it on a heavy value add. Maybe they just, I don't know.
Gosh, yeah.
Be interesting for you to tell us like the stats on, what type of people what situations are having pain and which ones are able to pivot to some other product that you have and just get the runway longer.
Julie, that's such an important point, because I think sometimes we have this tendency to think that every buyer or seller has the same goals or the same mindset that we have. Well, I would never do that, so why would they do it? Well, people have different reasons for getting in or out of a property, and it may be tax reasons, it may be cash flow reasons, it may, maybe just be hassle factor reason. I mean, there's so many different things. And
it's the whole novation conversation too with this. Why in the hell would a seller of a property allow the wholesaler to sign all the listing paperwork and list it on the MLS for them? Why wouldn't they just sign the damn paperwork? Because they don't want to be hassled.
Yeah.
We don't have to figure out why the hell they would do that.
Yeah.
It's just that some will.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like last year we sold one of our rentals, and we sold it to a long-term tenant who had originally started out as a lease option, and then he just ended up renting for like 10 years. But, it had a lot of deferred maintenance on it. And, I think you even had the conversation with this, Julie. Oh, well, shoot, you could, fix that up and you could make, X, probably 6 figures more. But, at the time it was just like, you know what, we just don't need the hassle, and we want to do him a good turn.
Right.
And so we were fine with, what we ended up selling it for, because it was just
2 months ago, I had a guy in Ballard that was going to sell it off market, but couldn't quite get the number he wanted, or he paused. So those guys, some of these big hedge funders, sent me in there to try and, because I'll refer, whatever, give them a feedback, right? And I said, okay, dude, here's the deal. You can get $100,000 more. Guy's completely capable. I said, easy, $100,000 more in your pocket. You can stay at work. I'll handle it from here. Okay. I'll handle everything from here. Just give me the key and you'll get $100,000 more. And so he's like, that sounds great. Let me get some of the shit that I need out of here, and then we'll go. So he starts ghosting me. I'm like, what's up, Keith? What's up? Da, da, da. And you know what he says after a month and a half? He says, I sold it to one of my friends. I said, what price? He said, the $100,000 lower price. And I said, why'd you do that? And he said, I just want to help my buddy out. People do shit.
People do weird shit.
And we don't have to figure out why. Right. And so But I still am interested real quick, and then we got to jump off on Alex.
So a couple times on this call, we kind of touched on, as far as the hard money lenders or the conventional lenders and the borrowers and the sellers and everything else too. I think so much of it really comes down to is communication and keeping in mind that whatever your situation is, a lender doesn't want to get the property back. They will do whatever they can, that they should, to make sure that they can make that loan go performing again. And we've been in a situation before too, where it's like, okay, so what can we do to get this loan performing again? Does it mean that we need to do a forbearance for a few months or something like that? And it really comes down to, I mean, shoot, if you get into a situation where somebody's like, I don't know what to do here, and they start hiding their head in the sand, and then they're not talking to the lender. Well, they're just digging a hole for themselves, and we've got people that would be loving to partner something on, as long as the numbers might work. But that, again, it comes back down to relationships and communication. There's always a way to figure something out.
I'm interested also, just to keep in touch with Alex, like if you have flippers right now that have hard money loans out with you guys, and they're caught in a market adjustment where somebody sold something low, one or two properties around them have sold at a lower price where they have to drop their price. That is, I mean, I'm working with some flippers, and I called up my friend Jared yesterday, and I said, dude, I'm doing some stuff with Jared, and I said, I called this pending for you, and I got bad news. It's listed at 1.2, and they're just selling it for $1,210,000. That's bad news for, for one of, it's not ideal situation. He can handle it because he's experienced and he's got or whatever. But Alex, are you having any flippers panic at this moment because their stuff's listed and it's stale?
We're not having flippers that are panicking. Actually, the folks that we've seen have the most pain right now are the folks that we're doing a BRRRR. And a lot of it is coming off of folks that were intending to BRRRR into a short-term rental.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, right, for us as a lender, for a lot of asset-based lenders, we're going to base our cash flow analysis on the market rents for a long-term rental. Yeah. Whereas, a lot of those folks that are BRRRRing into a short-term rental, these areas don't support long-term rentals very well. So that's where a lot of folks are feeling pain. Or they're in areas like I had one person who was over in Lake Tahoe, and he was like, so they just put a cap on the number of short-term rentals that we can have here. So I'm actually kind of SOL right now. And I'm like, I mean, I'm really sorry, man. We can put together a backup option, but it's going to be
lease option. Boop.
And that reminds me, and this, it hasn't happened really yet, but, I was thinking back to about 10 years ago. We had a friend who they were getting a house, they were flipping a house. And, I was asking them about their comps, and they're like, oh yeah, it all looks good and everything. And like a week before they were ready to list, about 10 foreclosures hit the market. And that sunk their comps. And that hasn't happened here yet. And hopefully it won't, but it could. And so, that was their solution. Is we were like, okay, if you lease option it, you can still get your price that you need. You're just going to rent it for a while, and they're going to have an option to buy. And so, and then it ended up actually being a better deal even than if they would have just cashed out.
It is such a good option. I mean, he knows this. Alex, I don't know. I don't think you were on earlier. Can you let me know if you think this situation can work? Let's say there's a flipper that is going to have to take too big of a haircut. They can, maybe if they want to, or they can break even, they can get out of the deal and sell it, but they prefer not to. Okay. They prefer not to have gone through the pain of flipping and make zero or have to write a check or something like that. Let's say that could happen here. If they, let's say, if they accepted a lease option, they've borrowed hard money, they're on hard money, they accept a lease option that comes with a non-refundable option fee of, some big chunk, it could be 30 grand, it could be whatever, right? And they're now going to collect rent. Can that, I was talking to Nee, that flipper convert that hard money transitional loan into your 2-year product with no prepayment penalty. So that means that the buyer can rent for less than 2 years, right? Paying the rent and given a big fat non-refundable option fee to cover any extension fees or changes, and also mitigate the if there's an arbitrage between their hard money payment and the rent, that option fee can gap that, right? You can just use it and then convert it to your 2-year loan product.
So our 2-year loan product, we're not going to allow cash out. We can finance up to 90% of the borrower's cost basis, meaning like their purchase price plus any renovations we can document. We can get up to 90% of that number, but the borrower in this case is going to have to leave 10% equity in.
Yeah, we don't need cash out. We're just getting a runway.
They're just taking out that hard money loan and getting into a fixed rate product for a period of time until the new buyer who is currently renting can qualify for their own loan. So they're just going to be a renter for a couple of years, and then they're going to qualify, and then they're going to take out that, you know,
it might not even be that, Alex. It might be a flipper who's going to have to take a big discount because the market, like if 2 more houses sell at the number at their list price because they're listing them too low, let's say in Ballard, if 2 more houses, let's say like Jared's, it's going to bring the price of his house down. Okay. Let's say he's like, I don't want to drop it by 75 grand or 50 grand or whatever the number is. Right. So I'm telling Jared, dude, he said, I'm open to it. You could lease option it where somebody's going to give you in his case, it's a $1.5 million house. So you're going to get easily, you could get 30 grand from somebody that has to sell in order to buy. And they're ready to go. So they're going to give you that option fee. They're going to move in. They're going to start paying you rent so they can move out of their current house so it can be listed vacant and staged. And now they only need 3 to 6 months or something like that, or, you know, in order to close. So, and instead of sitting there paying his high money monthly payment, Jared takes that lease option to you guys and said, I got this in place. And what are the fees? Let me convert to the 2-year loan product that has no, he's already got 10% in the deal. I don't want any cash out. His equity's already 10% in the deal. And I want to convert to your 2-year loan product. And maybe I might pay you off in 6 months. Maybe I might pay you off in 9 months or 3 months, you know, and he's just going to make sure the lease option period is less than his 2-year loan period with you. And he's going to be able to get and keep his price higher because he's given that buyer a term they couldn't get out everywhere else.
Yeah. So our 2-year product, if it's a refinance situation, so we can finance up to 80% of the as-is value, so long as we don't exceed 90% of our borrower's cost basis. Mm-hmm. I do want to caution you that interest rates on that have jumped also with the rate jumps. Currently, right now, for like a highly experienced borrower, someone like you talked about Jared Galdi, right?
Jared Holland.
Oh, sorry, Jared Holland. Sorry, for a guy like Jared Holland, we'd probably be in like the high 8s for something like this. Interest on payments.
Right, but he's either okay. So that only. So he has, but the issue he's trying to solve is he might have 8% money, right? Mm-hmm. But it might be due right now.
Yeah.
Right. So you're either going to let him extend. Or does he?
We'd probably be in like I said, the high 8s with, I want to say like 1.5, maybe 1.75 points. I would say about $1,000 in fees from us. And then, you know, plus title escrow insurance.
But Alex, what is, if Jared borrowed from you initially for the flip, and he's a super experienced guy that does 15 deals at a time, what would his rate have been on the hard money initially? Would it be
for a guy like Jared?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. For a guy like Jared, we'd probably do custom pricing. I want to say that before.
Well, and all I'm saying is it if you're talking that you're at this 2-year loan product at the high 8s. Jared is probably 8-ish, or it could even be less on the standard hard money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But the problem is his maturity date on that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Jared, like his initial financing from us I would guess be in like the low 8s right now. And then we would convert him over. We would basically just do a rate and term refinance, get him into this 2-year product, and just have him just hold the loan for like the next, probably the
And
next.
okay, so let's say he's at 8.25 on his current money. I'm just using this as an example. And he's
Yeah.
got to go to 8.75 on the 2-year product, right? He has all the equity in there he needs because he created all the great equity, right? And so how much is that going to cost him, you think? Tell me again. To convert.
We'd probably charge him 1.5 points and $995, so $1,000.
Holy
So that-
Marishka,
I know.
do you see what I'm saying?
No,
Are you
absolutely.
freaking kidding me? Like lease option.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because that's the thing is like, yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to get worked up about, well, why would I go from 8.25 to 8.3, 8 and, and 3/4? Well, you may not have a choice. You may be hitting up against that deadline. Your money,
Yes, but that allows him to
but it allows him
at
to
at
stabilize.
1,475,000 instead of 1,425,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
We created this product originally mostly aimed at developers, right? So, they could buy a property that maybe is rentable, but, not really performing, hold it for a couple of years while they get, plans and permits in place, and then they can refinance over construction once it's ready to build. We actually found a lot of utility from, like investors who are like, hey, you know what? I want to do short-term rentals, or I need a loan product that doesn't look at DSCR because I'm doing short-term rentals, or like, I just need a product to just hold a property for.
We love you guys, Alex. We love you. We love you. But what I'm saying is that nobody's having the conversation that I just said.
Yeah.
Nee got it right away when I called.
Well, of course he did. Nee has done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked with Nee many times, and he was like, "We've got this product, and I'm doing this with this house, and that we had lease optioned with him, several years ago."
If you're a flipper and you're listening to this recording, my phone number is 206-910-2985. If you're having trouble, call me. Okay. So we can talk about what all the scenarios are. That's one scenario. There are other scenarios as well. Like,
oh yeah. That's the beauty of creative finances. And when we say creative, it doesn't mean that it's anything really wonky or scary. It's
the
just
whole point.
Different than
we're trying to keep you flippers at your higher price points.
Yep.
And just extend your runway.
Yep.
Okay. It's a trade of terms.
Sometimes that's all you need.
And you're going to get a bunch of money to cover all this for you. That's what we're talking about, people. Yes, ma'am. So,
This is cool stuff.
This can
and
be
having a
done.
partner like Certain is
oh my God,
really awesome, because I mean they've really created this kind of niche-y product that not a lot of other lenders have, and then you have people who are on the team who get it because they've done it,
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly. Alex, what is the going rate for hard money these days for somebody that flips 4 to 5 properties a year?
I mean, for someone like that, you're probably looking hard money, assuming they want maximum leverage. Assuming maximum leverage and it's in a good area, I mean, I would say probably mid 8s to high 8s. So like somewhere between 8.5% to 9%. And that would be for 90% of your total cost. Probably still 1 point and $995 fee.
So Jared is only getting 0.5 percentage break with his experience versus the new guy.
Jared would get custom pricing. I mean, we're going to be more aggressive. Like if you had talked to me about this maybe about a month ago, I'd be saying, oh yeah, a guy like Jared, we're going to have him in probably the mid 7s.
Okay.
Things changed.
We need to talk more about this because Joe's got to get off and we got to bolt here because he's flying to Denver. But yeah, can you come back next week and see us, Alex, if you have time, please?
I will do my
If you
best,
have time.
I might be driving to Bellingham and
Okay,
I
no
always
worries.
prefer, yeah. on Thursday, but
Then I
I'll
might,
try
I
and get
might
in.
be calling you guys because what we talked about today is a big deal, I think, and can be applied to more than just, single family flips.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump off, everybody. Thank you for showing
talk.
up.